When I knew I was fast, I think that for me personally, it wasn't until I got to the University of Miami in 2001-ish. My mom will tell a story of me starting to run faster than the family German Shepherd, and my father will tell you the story of me being at the Carnegie Science Center and starting to run faster than a FloJo hologram. I think I started to dream of being an Olympian when I was a child, but I didn't really know or recognize that. If you had asked me the question before I found a small little thing in a project that I did in 3rd grade where I had Olympic medals on and I was a runner, I didn't even remember it until I saw that. So I think that I didn't really start to internalize the idea of the possibility of being an Olympian until I got to the University of Miami and realized that, kind of the next step was to look toward professional sports and the Olympic effort. I wasn't sure until I crossed the finish line. I saw my name in that 3rd place position that I was going to the Olympic Games the first time in 2004. I think the thing that was really cool was that I hadn't thought that, I didn't think that there was everything on the line in that moment. Of course, I was very nervous. It was the Olympic trials and there was pressure, but at the same time, I hadn't had those real goals and aspirations for such a long period of time that I was really excited to come across that line and know that I had made myself a name among some of the best names in the sport at that time period. The pinnacle of my career, I might think that it was 2005. I mean, it seems like the likely answer because in 2005, I was running my fastest time. I was the world champion, the fastest woman in the world for that year. And the fact that I never got back to that time would say that I was at the top. But I think that there's some other times that have been some really high points in my career. I think the time that I was in the best shape of my life was in 2008. I just didn't get everything put together at the right moment. I think the coolest thing about 2004 was the idea that my family got to come. It was the beginning of my career. I didn't know exactly how the Olympic movement worked or, what it was going to be like, and I was just hoping to have some family members there and somebody to be able to make it because I knew it was very expensive to get to Europe. There was a story written in the Pittsburgh newspaper where they kind of talked about what my father was going through and him not being able to attend because he had some health issues and the cost that he was going to incur by coming over. And it ended up that people started to send in money, and my hometown supported me in a way that was so amazing and so wonderful that we actually ended up taking 8 people to the Olympic Games. In 2004, at just age 20, I was able to make it to the podium. And as I went through each round, I think I was thinking, do the best you can. Do the best you can, Lauren. And one of the things my father said, before the finals was, it doesn't matter what happens out there tomorrow, that I love you no matter what, and that you've already made us so proud in making it to this point that don't put the pressure on yourself to feel like you have to do this for us. A few days after getting my medal, my dad became sick, and I think the hardest thing for me to realize in that moment was that he had a cancer that, could come back, and he had these health conditions, and he was on dialysis, and all these different things were happening. I think through my childhood, he kind of always downplayed that role of what it was and what it took for him to be able to stay alive and that will to live. I don't think I understood it until the moment that I was in a hospital in Greece, watching my dad fight for his life. And the first hospital wasn't the best of conditions. And so it was very scary to be in another country and not know exactly what was going on, for there to be language barriers, and to know that, my dad came here to see me and to celebrate this moment, and what if this is the end of it all? So to really keep myself in the moment and get ready to prepare for the relay, but also, be there with my dad and be praying for my dad and know that God was going to come through for my dad. I was definitely fighting a battle of like, why did you bring me this far to have my dad die in Greece? This is going to be horrible. So in that moment, I had to really depend on the Lord to give me peace and give me serenity. So my dad did a really good job of putting me at ease, despite the idea that he was in the hospital and that these things had happened, and he was in an unfortunate situation. He said, "Don't worry, I'll be out. I'll be fine. You go out there, you run your heart out. Everything's gonna be great." So from that aspect, he did kind of the same thing to calm me that he did right before the 100-meter final, to make sure that I wasn't gonna be thinking about that as I stepped to the starting line.